Do you still believe Florida's real estate market is booming? Not for much longer. Beneath the idyllic facade of palm trees and pastel homes, a harsh reality is emerging. Some Florida cities are hurtling towards a significant housing crash in 2025. The undeniable warning signs are now glaringly apparent. Home prices are plummeting. Insurance costs are not just rising, they're exploding. And housing inventory is piling up at a frantic pace, unseen in over a decade, signaling a coming housing market crash. Is your city next? Could that dream home, once a beacon of prosperity, transform into a financial nightmare overnight? Stick around, because in this video, we're counting down the 10 Florida cities where the housing market is cracking wide open. This is your essential housing market update, and a critical housing market prediction for what's coming. Number 10, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Fort Lauderdale, the sun-soaked playground of South Florida, is starting to feel the profound tremors of a housing correction. And in 2025, those tremors are growing impossible to ignore. Once hailed as a beachfront goldmine, this city was the darling of real estate investors, snowbirds, and remote workers alike. But now the housing market has shifted dramatically. Housing inventory has surged over 80% year over year. Homes that once fetched $650,000 in 2023 are now lingering on the market at $580,000 and still can't attract offers. Listings that once vanished in a single weekend are now collecting dust for months. The biggest culprit, skyrocketing insurance premiums. Fort Lauderdale's coastal exposure makes it especially vulnerable to the broader Florida housing market crash. Average homeowners are now staring down bills over $7,000 per year, a staggering 50% jump since just 2022. Add in ballooning HOA fees, often $500 plus monthly, and affordability has plummeted off a cliff. Investor activity is rapidly drying up. Roughly 30% of investor-owned condos and homes are now conspicuously listed below their original purchase price. Many are desperately trying to cut losses and exit the real estate market. Even short-term rental owners, Airbnb hosts, are feeling the sting with occupancy rates down 12% year over year. Add it all up, and Fort Lauderdale is confronting a market wobble that looks less temporary and more fundamentally structural. It may still appear like a $1 million postcard from the outside, but under the surface, deep cracks are forming fast. What's your take? Would you still buy into Fort Lauderdale's real estate market in 2025? Tell us in the comments, especially if you live there, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. There are 9 more Florida cities you need to see, and it only gets worse from here. Number 9, Cape Coral, Florida. Cape Coral, often celebrated as the Venice of America for its sprawling canal system, is now sailing headfirst into stormy real estate waters. In 2025, this waterfront wonderland is facing one of Florida's sharpest market corrections. After a rapid and unsustainable rise, home prices are now down 5 to 7% year over year, and listings are sitting on average for 70-plus days. Why this alarming slowdown? One word: overbuilding. Between 2021 and 2023, Cape Coral was utterly flooded with new development. Builders raced to meet the surging demand, and the number of active listings more than doubled, leaping from $1,800 to nearly $4,000. But demand has failed to keep pace. Now the housing market is drastically oversupplied and underbought. Flood zone insurance premiums are also hammering homeowners. Some are now paying an eye-watering $8,000 to $12,000 annually just for coverage. And that's if they can even find a willing insurer. Then there's Cape Coral's infamous utility expansion fees. In some neighborhoods, new buyers are slapped with over $30,000 in assessments just to hook up to city water and sewer, a cost that's actively scaring away potential homeowners. Mortgage rates hovering near 7% have only exacerbated the situation. Locals are being priced out, out-of-state interest has cooled, and the economy heavily reliant on construction and tourism isn't diversified enough to support the previous real estate momentum. So, yes, Cape Coral still looks like paradise, but behind the palm trees and picturesque canal views, the 2025 housing market is a cautionary tale in motion, signaling a deep market crash. Hit like if you're watching from Cape Coral or if you've witnessed home price drops firsthand. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and don't go anywhere. 8 more Florida cities are still ahead, and they only get worse from here. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next one. Number 8. Ocala, Florida. Ocala, Florida's esteemed horse capital, is now galloping straight into dangerous housing territory in 2025. Once a quiet, affordable gem tucked away from the coasts, Ocala became a post-pandemic favorite for families, retirees, and remote workers. But now the housing market is buckling under immense pressure. Active listings have surged from $800 to nearly $3,000 in just over 2 years, a stunning 275% spike. That's not mere inventory growth. That's severe oversaturation, a clear sign of a coming real estate crash. Homes that were priced at $310,000 in 2023 are now sitting on the market at $275,000 and still aren't selling. What happened? Overbuilding. Developers lured by cheap land and massive migration trends drastically overestimated demand. Entire neighborhoods in Silver Spring Shores now feel like modern ghost towns. And the affordability that once drew people in, it's utterly vanished. Between 2020 and 2023, home values shot up over 55%, while wages barely moved. Add in soaring insurance premiums, and it's glaringly clear why buyers are pulling back. Jobs in Ocala, rooted in manufacturing, agriculture, and warehousing, have slowed. New residents are scarce, and locals simply can't keep up with rising home ownership costs. So yes, Ocala still possesses charm. It still has horse trails and rolling hills. But in 2025, it also has too many homes, not enough buyers, and a housing market wobbling precariously. Still think Ocala is a hidden gem, or has the shine faded? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget subscribe to see which Florida city cracks next. Number 7. Tampa, Florida. Tampa, once Florida's undisputed real estate crown jewel, is now watching its sparkle fade fast in 2025. In just 2 years, Tampa's active listings exploded from under $3,000 to over 4,500 homes. That's an 80% surge. Builders went wild, erecting condos and subdivisions across every corner of the metro area. But they overshot their mark. Now the inventory sits stagnant, a vivid symbol of a brewing housing market crash. Buyers have simply vanished. Interest rates hovering near 6.8% have relentlessly pushed monthly payments from $800 to $2,600 plus, a jump that's pricing out thousands of would-be homeowners. Zillow reports small monthly home price declines, but that's merely the beginning. Investors are panic selling, with some listing properties at 5 to 10% losses just to offload them. Property taxes and insurance premiums are up a shocking 40% since 2023. And let's not forget the ever-present hurricane risk. Some coastal homeowners are now paying over $5 to $200 annually for insurance alone. Homes now average 44 days on the market, a sharp increase from under 20 just 2 years ago. Realtors are offering concessions, but buyers remain hesitant, and for very good reason. Tampa's once booming housing scene is cooling at an alarming rate. The sunny skies might still be there, but the real estate market is not so bright anymore. What's the mood like in your neighborhood? Leave a comment below and hit subscribe, because the next 6 cities will truly shock you. Number 6. Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida's largest city by area, is now revealing its largest housing market cracks in over a decade. In 2025, the city's housing inventory has surged to nearly 4,000 active listings, up from just 200 in 2023. It's the highest level in years, and that excess supply is severely straining home prices. Why? A classic mix of overbuilding and overpricing. Builders went all in on suburbs like Orange Park and Middleburg. But when mortgage rates soared close to 7%, buyers dried up almost overnight. Homes that felt affordable in 2022 now come with monthly payments that feel utterly out of reach. According to Fitch Ratings, Jacksonville's real estate market is 26% overvalued, and the local economy isn't robust enough to hold that line. Logistics and shipping, the very backbone of Jacksonville's job market, have taken significant hits. Jacksport volumes are down 14%, and that slowdown is being keenly felt in paychecks and loan approvals across the city, contributing to the looming market crash. Insurance rates are up a staggering 60% in flood-prone areas. And with 1 in 5 homes investor-owned, the housing market is now flooded with home price cut listings that scream motivated seller. From the St. Johns River to the city outskirts, Jacksonville is sliding into a deep correction, one that could take years to reverse. If you're in Jax, tell us what you're seeing near you, and don't forget to subscribe. The top 5 Florida housing crash cities are just ahead. Number 5, Sarasota, Florida. Sarasota, long celebrated for its pristine white sand beaches, cultural sophistication, and high-end lifestyle, is facing a dramatic housing shift in 2025. What was once a red-hot luxury real estate market has cooled significantly, hinting at a bursting housing bubble. Housing inventory has more than doubled in just 2 years now, topping over 3,700 active listings. And those $1.2 million waterfront properties that flew off the market in 2022, they're now listed closer to $975,000 and still sitting untouched. According to Zillow, Sarasota's housing market peaked at nearly 38% over its fair market value in 2022. That housing bubble has definitively popped, and the core buying demographic, retirees with large portfolios and out-of-state investors, is rapidly shrinking. Rising inflation and stock market turbulence in 2024 have left many of those once eager buyers cautious or entirely inactive. Insurance premiums are relentlessly pushing waterfront buyers further away. Annual rates between $8,000 and $10,000 are now standard. And with interest rates nearing 7%, even affluent buyers are pausing or backing out of deals. Homes now average 91 days on the market. Realtors are resorting to staging events, offering credits, and holding back-to-back open houses complete with charcuterie boards and wine tastings, all to no avail. Sarasota is still stunning, but make no mistake, this is no longer a seller's paradise. It's a buyer's market wrapped in luxury. If you've seen home price cuts or open house gimmicks in your area, share what you're seeing in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to stay ahead of every Florida housing shakeup. Number 4, Port St. Lucie, Florida. Port St. Lucie, a city that once stood out for its appealing balance of affordability. Beautiful beaches and suburban calm, is now showing just how fast a housing market can shift when it overheats. In 2025, this city is officially recognized as one of Florida's most overvalued real estate markets. Florida Atlantic University reports home prices are a staggering 41% above their long-term value. The median price broke $410,000 in 2022, yet the average household income is still hovering around $62,000. That glaring disconnect is actively pushing buyers away and stretching affordability to its absolute limits. Housing inventory is up 35% year over year, and builders are clearly feeling the intense pressure. Some homes listed at $430,000 last year are now relisted at $360,000, with added incentives like closing cost credits, appliance upgrades, and interest rate buy-downs. Beyond pricing, Port St. Lucie is straining under the weight of its own explosive growth. Schools are overcrowded, traffic congestion has worsened significantly, and water and utility systems are struggling under immense pressure. What was once considered a smooth, livable escape is now a source of mounting frustration for many new and long-time residents, contributing to the broader housing market crash sentiment. Insurance is delivering the final crushing blow. Waterfront homes now average over $6,500 annually in insurance costs. That kind of overhead is derailing loan approvals and severely cooling buying activity across the board. Port St. Lucie still offers sun and lifestyle perks, but in 2025, the dream has hit a wall. It's a painful reminder that what goes up must inevitably come down. If your home's value dipped or your neighborhood is flooded with listings, let us know what you're seeing below. Number 3, Fort Myers, Florida. Fort Myers, a poster child of Florida's pandemic-era housing boom, is now facing a harsh and undeniable market reset. Between 2022 and 2024, this Gulf Coast city saw home values skyrocket by more than 65%. Median home prices climbed to over $430,000. It was undeniably one of the hottest real estate markets in the state. But fast forward to 2025, and that momentum has slammed to a halt. Home prices are now down 6% year over year. Inventory has surged, rising from about 3,200 listings to over 5,000. Homes are sitting longer, with the average days on market now pushing past 60. Home price reductions are common, and many sellers are watching contracts frustratingly fall through before closing. One of the biggest stressors is insurance. After Hurricane Ian, annual premiums soared, now averaging between $9,000 and $11,000 per home, even in areas that aren't technically flood zones. That's forcing many would-be buyers to walk away from deals, accelerating the housing crash. The rental market is struggling too. Tourism has slowed, and Airbnb revenue is down sharply. Many short-term rental investors are desperately trying to offload properties at steep discounts just to avoid further losses. Affordability is completely out of sync. With median incomes under $60,000, local buyers are effectively priced out of their own city. The gap between home values and wages has become utterly unsustainable. Fort Myers still has charm, but its housing market in 2025 is no longer soaring, it's correcting. Lived here, sold recently, share your experience in the comments, and stay tuned. Only 2 more Florida cities remain, and they're the most vulnerable of all. Number 2, St. Petersburg, Florida. St. Petersburg, known for its vibrant waterfront parks, booming art scene, and dynamic downtown energy, is now facing a real estate reality it didn't see coming. In 2025, the city's housing inventory has ballooned to over 5,600 active listings, the highest in nearly a decade. That kind of supply surge doesn't just affect home prices. It profoundly rattles confidence throughout the entire housing market. Median home prices have fallen from $450,000 to around $390,000. And homes now sit for an average of 48 days, more than double what was typical during the recent boom. Investors are backing off hard. Many Airbnb owners who rushed in during the pandemic wave are now competing in a saturated rental market with lower occupancy rates and slashed nightly prices. Some homes purchased at the peak of the housing bubble are now financially underwater, and literally underwater in flood-prone zones. And flood insurance? It's crushing demand. Premiums have risen 60 to 70% since 2023. Some waterfront homeowners now pay over $10,000 annually, making ownership utterly unsustainable, even for high-income earners. The local income dynamic isn't helping. With a median household income under $58,000, many locals are priced out, leading buyers to shift toward more affordable cities nearby, like Largo, Dunedin, and Clearwater. St. Pete remains stylish, creative, and sunny, but its housing market in 2025 is under serious pressure, and the correction is far from over. Have you noticed longer listings or falling prices in your St. Pete neighborhood? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget subscribe now, because the #1 housing crash city in Florida is up next, and it's a shocker. Number 1, Lakeland, Florida. Lakeland, nestled strategically between two booming metros, Tampa and Orlando, was once seen as Florida's next big thing, affordable, geographically strategic, and full of promise. But in 2025, it has tragically become the state's most vulnerable housing market, a prime candidate for a severe housing crash. And the numbers paint a grim picture. Housing inventory has jumped from just over 3,000 to 4,800 homes, a staggering 60% increase in 2 years. And home prices that once surged to $350,000 in 2023 are now in full retreat, with some listings dropping 2 to 4% month over month. So, what's driving this precipitous market crash? Start with rampant overbuilding. South Lakeland and North Polk County saw massive development during the boom. Builders bet big, but demand has since collapsed. With interest rates still hovering near 7%, many locals simply can't afford to buy, and those moving from out of state have slowed to a trickle. Investor retreat is perhaps the biggest red flag. A staggering 31% of current listings are investor-owned, and many are being slashed in price at an alarming rate. Panic selling is already well underway. Then there's insurance. While not coastal Lakeland hasn't escaped Florida's pervasive insurance crisis. Premiums have jumped over 40%, with average coverage costs now between $4,000 and $5,500 per year. That's a deal breaker for many buyers already battling rising mortgage rates and inflation. Lakeland's job growth, largely tied to logistics trucking and warehousing, has stalled. With migration slowing and affordability fading, the local real estate market is softening from every conceivable angle. Lakeland had its moment in the spotlight. But in 2025, it stands as the poster child for Florida's housing correction. A cautionary tale of what happens when growth moves too fast and demand disappears just as quickly. Live in Lakeland, have you witnessed the shift yourself? Want to stay ahead of the curve to truly understand the dynamics of this real estate crash? Then, this is your moment. Subscribe to Housing Crash Channel for weekly deep dives into America's changing cities, shifting housing markets, and the economic undercurrents shaping our collective future. We bring the real data, the real stories, and we don't sugarcoat the trends, because what comes next will impact far more than just property values. We'll see you in the next one.